Hey, welcome to this week's episode of Merricks Garage, coming to you from my buddy's house, where he has taken his 2006 Chevy truck and stuffed a Dana 44 under the front. Now, that may not sound that cool to some of you guys, but for those of you who understand the benefits of a solid axle, you will totally be digging this. Dana 44 up front. What do you have in the back, Duke? 14 volt AAM?
Semi-floater, not enough.
What is it?
Semi-floater?
Oh, semi-float in the back.
14 volt though.
14 bolt semi-float. And it's really come together well. It's taken a long time, but that is how these builds go. I know we're so used to watching stuff get slammed together and blasted out in a matter of weeks, but the reality is, for most of us out there doing it ourselves, these builds take several years. This one is approaching the finish line. The axle's in, springs are in, steering's done, brakes are getting dialed, transfer case is all hooked up. I think the only thing he's got to do is some minor wiring, get the exhaust done, and then what?
Drive it, have fun.
Heck yeah, brother.
Go for trails.
So here is the Dana 44 that we are putting, well, I say we, but I'm not getting dirty. Here's the Dana 44 that Duke is putting in. He went with some ORD springs that, yes, they really do sit that flat. And yes, there are 32 leaves in that leaf pack, but they will flex like crazy. Gonna have to limit that flex, otherwise he's gonna find himself starting to pop lines off. But let me give you a walk around of this this whole kit. The last time I did a video on this, I had a lot of comments, questions about what it was, and I didn't know any of the answers. So I'm gonna pick Duke's brain a little bit. We'll show you what kit he used, what he had to cut, where he had to cut, and he can give you a rundown on how easy this was. Let's go check it out. So let's talk about this knuckle. Where did this Dana 44 come out of?
The whole axle came out of a 1979 Ford F-250.
Right on.
Pennsylvania. And
you shipped this out here, and it came with the 456s, or?
No, I had to re-gear it. It just came steering, knuckles. It came complete.
Yeah.
But it was pretty rusty and old, so.
So you tore it down, re-geared it, threw a Lincoln locker or something up front.
Yeah, lunchbox locker.
Lunchbox locker up front. Got the ORD leaf packs.
The knuckles are from a 72 Blazer flat top.
Ooh, nice.
So
okay.
It's got Chevy, everything from the knuckles.
But you're not going to do crossover or anything.
Not high steer.
Yeah,
no.
not high steer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't clear those
No,
leaf
the
packs.
springs are too big.
Yeah. So tell me about this disc conversion you're doing.
So I found these guys after late night interweb seeking, and I was having trouble disconnecting the ABS on my truck. So I figured let's try to get a guy that'll make a kit or fabricate something. So I found a guy. He comes from Thor.
Thor.
His name is Christian Wilson. Thor Engineering, Thor.
Thor Engineering. I'll put a link down to this down below. So did these hubs come from Thor?
These are the Dana 44 heavy-duty hubs, 8-lug. He'll do 8-lug or 6-lug hubs.
Yeah.
So he machines the hub to accept an ABS tone ring, and then he'll also machine the actual hat of the hub, so you actually have slip-off rotors.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. So the guy specializes in a lot of Hummer stuff. Specifically,
so
like,
this is his backing plate?
That's his backing plate, so it'll accept a dual piston caliper from a 03 to 07.
All GM.
All GM H3 Hummer parts.
Okay.
So brakes, caliper, and then the rotors are 06 GM rears.
So you're ditching these calipers, these single pistons up there.
Yes.
And you're moving to a dual piston H3 rear?
H3 front.
H3 front.
And then the rotor is an 06 heavy-duty Chevy rear.
And you'll be able to maintain ABS at this point.
And then, hopefully, if everything works out, I'll be able to maintain ABS.
One of the things that you're going to run into with a truck like this, the challenges, it's not necessarily going to be all the fab work and the cutting and the moving and the axle placement. electronics, getting all the electronics to play nicely, particularly the ABS, but your VSS, all this stuff that you got a computer that's expecting to see these parameters, but then you're changing it all up. And there's ways around it, but they do require some ingenuity. And this brake system from Thor is it's a shortcut. Basically allows you to avoid some trickery and save time. Okay, let's show you guys the inside, because this is pretty cool. Look, nothing too different until you get here. Look at that. That is the JB conversion shift kit linkage for the 241. And it fits perfectly in the center console. I gotta say, that is clean. I love it when stuff lines up like that. And it wouldn't be Duke's truck if it didn't have a jar of change and a bunch of 308 rounds. I love this guy. So these are the rotors that came with the kit. Are these are Powerstops?
Yeah, those are Powerstops.
So Powerstop rotors and the Z36 pads. Woohoo! It's a nice looking caliper, bro.
Yeah, brother.
Here's what's nice about this kit is, yeah, you could stick the stock stuff back on there, but it's just going to be problematic when it comes to ABS. You're going to be having lights all the time. The ABS is just a very sensitive beast, so being able to maintain all that stuff with the tone rings on the hubs and run big, nice dual piston calipers is a huge win. So this Thor Engineering kit was quite a find by Duke. So check them out. I'll link all this stuff down below. But I'm excited to see this thing back up and running. It's taken too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. While Duke is hammering away getting these hubs mounted up, let's talk a little bit about solid axle versus IFS. Because from the untrained eye, IFS would seem to be a far superior solution for suspension. And I completely understand why. Having your wheels move independently provides better traction, provides more predictable handling, a ton of great features. All of that goes out the window, though, when you start four-wheeling and you start hitting rocks. The benefit of a solid axle is first and foremost going to be the strength. You can really overbuild a solid axle rig as opposed to an IFS rig. To build an IFS rig to take serious abuse takes some serious money. Whereas swap into a 14 bolt in the rear, a Dana 60 up front, or a solid axle Dana 44 is not really that expensive. The benefit that you get in addition to reliability and strength is also going to be rock crawling capabilities. As one tire is pushed up on an obstacle, the fulcrum effect is naturally going to drive the other tire down into the ground. So inherently, the design of the system will maximize traction. You're not going to find a front end floating up and popping up in the air because the force pushing up is countered by the force pushing down.
Solid, like 6 hours cutting. The Sawzall grinder.
Where there's a will, there's a way. So here's where it gets real. You can see a lot of the cuts that had to take place to get this thing down to bare where we can start building it back up. And if you don't have a plasma cutter, if you don't have a torch, you must have a Sawzall. And 6 hours on each one of these and you can have them off too. But let's talk a little bit about what the fab work you had to do. So, okay, obviously all the factory IFS stuff needs to be removed. What else?
So, after the factory IFS, it's basically a lot of steering, transfer case.
Did you have a steering box in here before?
I did stock. It was a stock steering box.
Okay, it's not rack and pinion or anything, though.
No, it wasn't rack and pinion, but it has a lot of extra linkage that is not supposed to be there.
Levers upon levers.
Yeah. It had like, it had a center link with 2 tie rod ends that were really long. It was lame. I don't even want to talk about it. I would break that all the time. They're called Chevy TREs or trays, and
Oh, the tie rod ends?
yeah, and so we would break them. Every IFS guy, 2500, 1500, doesn't matter. They always break them.
They're blowing through those things, huh?
Yeah.
Look,
So,
is this a 241 in here? What
that is a 241, correct?
And what slip yoke did you use? The JB?
JB, yeah.
Yep. And did it come with those red shiny parts?
Oh man, red shiny parts all over, man.
What? Look how flat this thing is.
That's some great ground clearance.
And your angle is awesome. Dude, that driveline angle is beautiful. So how much droop do you expect to see? I mean, this is ride height right here, right?
Just about ride height, yeah.
Wow.
It's about 6.5.
That's nuts. Nuts. Oh, so you got this centerpiece that just ties it together.
That rug really tied the room together, did it not?
Hey, this guy peed on it.
Donnie, please.
Yeah, so
Oh, it's fairly simple.
yeah, it's actually really simple. So all we really bought from Sky was the centerpiece that was designed for 78 through 79 Ford axles or GM Dana 60, Dana 44.
So it sets your spring perch and
31
everything.
and a half, 32, and then it comes with rear shackles and real shackle mount, and everything's all universal, so you kind of had to play with it. But in order to get it to work, you had to cut off almost all the IFS bracketry to figure out where your axle's going to go, and it's a little scary, a little daunting at first, but it's fun.
Any good project is going to have some risk.
Oh yeah.
I remember cutting my frame in half and thinking, what the heck have I done? What do we still have left to do?
So I'm adjusting my ABS sensor. It has to be between 0.018 and 0.24.
Have we mentioned how much of a pain ABS is?
ABS sucks. But this computer won't, it's very sensitive. So I got the clearance on that one. So it's very sensitive on these newer vehicles. So I wasn't able to bypass it the way I thought I was.
By just pulling the fuse?
You can just pull the fuse, although it's got an electronical
Electronical.
Electronic. God, I'm not talking today.
You're fried, dude. It's okay.
Oh man.
So there's an electronic bypass or
There's
override?
a proportioning valve that's electronic.
The proportioning valve is
Yeah.
electronic.
So I'd have to
Thanks,
either
GM.
take the whole thing all the way out or figure out some way to make it work. So this guy has a kit to make it work. So with that,
Let's throw them on. Here come those big, beefy power stops.
slip off rotors.
That's nice, dude.
The older GMs, you have press-in studs to keep the rotor on the hub.
Yeah, which are a pain.
They're a pain in the butt. So if you
Well,
smoke,
especially when they break.
yeah, and you smoke a rotor, you gotta.
Yep. Okay, well there you have it. 2006 Chevy truck, Dana 44 front end, all the IFS cut out, locked in the front, Detroit in the back, 241. This, man, I'm looking forward to this thing being back up and running. I've had a lot of good times with this guy behind me. We've destroyed many a vehicle together.
Oh, this is gonna be so sweet.
This is gonna be fun. I can't wait, dude.
It's so early.
Hey, any questions, hit me up down below. I will do my best to make them up or check in with Duke and see if he can give me the answer. But ORD springs, Thor Engineering for the brackets, PSC box, not PSC pump,
PC pump.
and Sky bracket kit.
Uh-huh.
Cool. Merricks Garage.
This grease is actually pretty solid. I started buying that a little while ago. Duke's really good at this.
I knew that we were going to make a joke about that at some point. Thanks, Duke. I may need to edit this now.